Recording, yeah. What I was going to ask you for is, would you mind engaging with the words for like a couple of minutes? Like, it doesn't have to be in silence, but on a one-to-one basis, like you're in a gallery, and I just want to know what effect, if any, they have on you. That was it, really. Can't read them, let me know, because that is a problem, and I can translate.
What's the third word here?
Smiling. Bucking the system, smiling.
Oh.
Bucking?
Bucking, yeah.
Oh,
Bucking.
No, okay, yeah, so that's a problem.
I thought it was fucking.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was fucking.
Yeah.
But also I looked at that, and that's the only reason I knew I could read that.
Okay,
So I
cool.
read that.
So those sorts of things are interesting, but not the comments I'm looking for.
Yeah,
just
yeah.
because I can adjust that. So the materiality is not important. So bucking the system, smiling. Thanks, see you belonging. Kindly.
Thanks, Steve. Okay.
Thanks. Yeah, I'll have to adjust to what that resolved on.
Well, I don't know what you mean by bucking the system.
So it's not having it. Does you don't understand the rather than me expect you.
Bucking.
Yeah, that's cool.
Never heard it in that. I don't know, like in that context.
That's fine. Maybe just before I explain it, they'll try and get George. If George got a, I'll give these other guys a couple of minutes, or a minute, just a minute. No, everyone's busy.
Does the colour have anything to do with the wording?
Yeah, so try and stay away from materiality, but yeah, I mean, no, that's fine. Basically, it should be like a warmer red, like like a more friendly red, like a more positive red. So it looks. This red is perhaps a little bit angry. I'm just trying to see if I can just prop that up.
I mean, because bucking and the word belonging both, to me, then seem like they fit into the usual terminology that you see. So they kind of make sense, but they're not. I mean, bucking the system timing is obviously kind of a phrase that you realise, but bucking the system timing is a bit like
Problematic.
yeah, but in a good way.
No, yeah, it's not problematic, but it gets you thinking. Or it's kind of like in a way you're using what already exists, but then kind of tweaking it.
Yeah.
And
And like fantasy belongings, it's almost like thank you, see you later, go get your belongings. Like it's almost like you've missed out phrasing, but
Yeah, so the way, well, it's just like that I read that as belongings at first, but it's belonging, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's just because of the G going
Okay,
across,
so
it's like
lack of clarity is difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, because you said you want to stay away from aesthetics, or like at the moment.
It's not. Yeah, for the moment,
for the
because they're
moment,
not resolved.
Would it
so
be
it's-
better, to just print them out onto like a sheet just to show us? Because I think at the moment it's hard to read it as just the words, reading this aesthetic. Not, I mean, it's not a problem, but yeah, I think.
Well, you want to do that now? I could just write it out. Or,
Well, no, it's
well, I mean, it's you can't just discuss the
Yeah.
words when you presented it in this way. You know?
Yeah, no, that's fair. No, yeah, I suppose because it's very experimental. Like basically, this is just for me. I'm just experimenting with paint as a framing device on the wall.
Yeah,
That's what this is about.
So,
for me.
but your main focus now is the words, isn't it?
Yeah, just for my project, for the essay.
Oh, so it's for your essay.
Yeah, it's for the essay. That's why. I'm not trying to say it's not important. Material. I'm just going to say
that's more.
I've got a thing missing from like. So if you could read it, bucking the system, smiling. So I have to take note of all this. But thanks, see you, belonging. Kind of.
And then it's kind.
I mean, these reds would be.
In a way, it's kind of like are they linked? So you said one after the other, right? It seems like
they are. In a way,
a poem of some sort.
I like the way that the kindly fades out.
Does it? I mean, I suppose this is a leading question. But I suppose I just asked. Now I'm not quite getting the response I need. I'll see if you might, if it were readable, if it were presented in a different way, maybe.
No, kindly. I like the idea of a repetition of a word. It kind of pushes upon you a bit more. It becomes more highlighted. Kind. It's like in poetry, you see a word that's repeated in a way.
Yeah. I mean, this was. It doesn't really matter. But this was like a huge sort of electric kindly.
Okay.
And very sort of pink.
Okay. So what is in the context? Is it political? I mean, I'm just trying to think with these words. So have a bit of background to what these words are saying, because
what I'm going to do is present them on a neutral ground.
Yeah.
And so originally done on white, and probably this is much too sort of potentially this is too sort of aggressive and raw, and the red's too sort of raw and visceral. So maybe like a pink on a sort of pastel background. So.
But then if you go pink, then you're getting into kind of kitsch territory.
Maybe, but I'm just trying to stay a little bit away from materiality, because my problem is that I need to discuss the word.
That's what I'm saying.
But just if this is tonally too strong, I'm going to sort of
ignore the.
I want to.
Repeating kindly. It's almost one of those things where if you say it or repeat it, then the word kind of goes. It doesn't really have meaning anymore.
Yeah, it becomes a
and it doesn't really have any.
Yeah. So much becomes alien. Just kind of.
I wasn't going to repeat it any further. Back to George's point quickly on the context and the politics.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
I want it to be like I want the audience or the viewer to be able to. This is why I'm going to make a massive legal statement. By putting on a neutral ground, I want the audience to have a sort of their own reflective dialogue
on what these words.
That's what I'm trying to achieve.
Okay.
So
I feel that it's kind of.
I mean,
homely. It seems in a way this one seems very home. No, that sounds weird, but homely or very thank you or thanks to you. Belongings. It seems a bit more intimate in a weird way.
Yeah.
And you've got this, which seems in a way it could be actually doing the opposite of the word kindly. It could be kind of doing the opposite. It kind of in a way it becomes this bizarre situation that just reading, that this repeated word that in a way it shouldn't be. Said in that kind of, like kindly. It's not really kind. If it was kind, it'd be kind, but it's kindly. So in a way, it seems like it's got a narrative to it, because it's like,
but kindly is softer than kind.
Yeah.
No, kindly is nicer.
No, it's nice. I'm not saying about this because of the Leon. Well, for me, it indicates that there's something before.
Yeah, what is kindly? Yeah, that's.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's not kind. Kind is like.
A word itself.
Word is that kindly. It seems like it's a word. So in a way, you're
so you're connecting it.
Okay, so if it was separate,
no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that just if we ignore these, but just the kindly kind of, it's different. It's interesting because it's an adjective. It's not kind. It's in a way.
Something is kindly.
Something's kind.
It's not.
So in a way, it's nice how that is. You've used that specific word.
Maybe the Lee's a bit confusing.
No, I like it. I think that's.
All of them are a bit confusing, but that's what is nice. I mean, if it was.
If it's too late, then you wouldn't get any response.
Can I bring you guys both back to? So I'm getting obviously from right here. Thanks for the responses. So yeah, there was. I think you were intimating that there's some sort of intimacy to thank, see you, belonging. And that kindly has some sort of resonance of kindness.
Yeah, kindness, or this, a narrative within the word kindly.
So just sticking with those two, I mean, do you think it's, what I want to try and do is take these to try and resolve the materiality and the actual readability of the words, so that they become so someone can have a reflective dialogue with them. So for example, if we've got this right in the material sense, you might, if you're in an art gallery, you might sort of think about someone who cared for you or you cared about. Do you think you might have a reflective moment, on your own terms, an experience on your own terms?
Yeah, I mean, in a way, it's kind of they're like.
I think they do, but I don't necessarily think that you have to resolve them to that point either, because I think they are a little confused.
Because they're together, or even separately. Just
no, even separately, like thanks, see you, belonging.
The belonging doesn't.
It doesn't particularly work with the thanks, see you.
Yeah.
But I still feel emotive.
Yeah, exactly. I think
towards thank is always.
You can have a list of words. I think you can have a list of words that all are in a certain thing, like area, and that could still have the same impact. You're reading the list, each word like thanks or whatever, belonging. All these words kind of indicate certain things in the mind. Right? So, when you read it, kind, I think so much kind, but then if you reference that with belonging, then it becomes you start to use these words together if they're categorised together.
Yeah.
That it doesn't need to be within a sentence, but it's not a sentence because it's thanks, see you, belonging. It's kind of, are they actual just separate words? And now I'm looking at them, because I did read them as a full thing, thanks, see you, belonging. But then now it's thanks, see you, and belonging.
Yeah, that's
like thanks, see you, and then belonging is.
So they're like phrases.
Conceptual, so that is the colour, that is why I'm using different colours, would be, thanks, see you, and then it's like, what? That was a lived experience for me, and I felt like I belonged. Yeah. So it's like a conceptual sort of resolution.
So that's thanks, see you, and then it's belonging is the
it's almost like the equals, or. So then it's. In the same way, sort of like bucking, like the system is just whatever you're maybe fighting against, your job or whatever, trying to get some health care or whatever. And so bucking the system, smiling. So these sort of active verbs, bucking and smiling, sort of like crush the system. Like visually, they're sort of like. Yeah. I think that's maybe just fucking some big ones, because this is much more conceptual for me. I mean, what I was hoping was that like, people would like, did anyone in any way get some sort of uplifting sense from it, as in, if it would say fucking the system smiling, it's a bit ballsy. It's a bit sort of
So
you got that sort of conceptual sort of message.
I got the like rebellion in especially in that one.
I think it's
whether it is bucking or fucking, like I don't think you need to change that.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's particularly important to make it like super clear. Yeah. Because if you're going to make it super clear, then you're prescribing what people are going to see, and you can never do that.
Yeah.
And this is your handwriting, you can't. You can't change it so much that it's not.
In a way, it's nice how they're kind of like positive and negative together. In a way, it kind of ultimately either corrects one or the other.
Because that made me look at the other two more negatively.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. But then that's why I said that when it starts getting interesting, because, well, for me that's when it gets interesting, because it's kind of in a way you've got this idea of, let's say that you can smile, which is smiling, then you've got the bucking of the system. So in a way that fucking the system or whatever, it seems like there's this rebellion and the smiling as well, and then thank you.
Because I read the others like in a sarcastic way.
Yeah, exactly. So there's a kind of sarcasm.
Because of that.
And then a kind.
Because of that, you're fucking the system, then you're smiling about it, and then it's like, thank you, see you, like not in a nice way.
So that's a proper problem for me, as in, if that's setting the tone.
Yeah, they do set. And in a way it becomes.
And also because
also because of the colours. I mean, you can't.
Yeah,
they are a triptych. Because you use the same and everything.
These are all areas that.
And I think
you can work on this.
It's materiality, but it's not neutral.
No, it's quite gritty. Yeah. I need to change that. So if you if I just whited out those and you just saw this, I'm very nitty-gritty here, but you would get a sort of pick you up sense. You might carry away a sort of like a bit of an attitude of like, whatever I'm going to.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think more so on the first one.
Yeah.
These almost are a bit like sentimental, which
That's what they're meant to do. Actually.
Yeah.
So if I could eradicate this so it doesn't.
But that one was
Skew.
Yeah, then they
I would, but if it was on
sentimental.
in another room, so working
Yeah.
separately to.
Yeah, so these then become a pair, because I feel these are much more
Yeah,
a pair.
yeah.
Yeah, so,
But then-
so we can treat these without this next to it, and you understand there's a sentimentality
Yeah.
to this.
Yeah, definitely.
And might you, if that were the case, might you be able to have like a sort of one-on-one reflective dialogue in relation to your own world? Depends what mood you're in. If you want to go and play rugby, you're probably not going to be thinking about this. But if you're in a sort of a mood to be reflective, do you think they could operate in that manner?
Yeah.
I mean, it's very neat.
I think, but then like everything you look at can be reflective.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel, yeah, the, no, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, they are always going to be reflective, but they're not necessarily going to make you immediately think of kindly, oh, I think of my mum, you know? Like, it is completely dependent on what
Yeah,
totally. Yeah, you could be
Yeah.
like, I mean, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If you're in a bad mood, it could be you could construe it to be sarcastic.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And because I think if you made it too nice, I would read it as more sarcastic, like the aesthetics of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it was like pink, like you were saying.
Yeah,
instead of,
I'd read
like,
that more sarcastically.
I'd read that, yeah, I'd read that quite kitschy.
So,
and
yeah, it's,
sarcastic.
it's very kitschy.
Yeah.
If someone could have on like a mug or something.
Yeah,
This is word
exactly.
they've been using like intersubjective, but like everyone's response is going to be
Yeah,
subjectively
totally. Yeah,
their
totally.
own.
Yeah.
So-
I feel it's giving the right amount of information. I think it's hard. Yeah, it's just giving that right amount.
So if I were to divorce these, then there's a sense of sentimentality to these,
Yeah.
which is obviously how it's read as intersubjective, so there's no point trying to go too far with that.
Yeah.
And this one does have an attitude. Okay.
I'm not sure if the middle one, like now that I'm reading it like thanks to you and that phrase is belonging. I'm not sure
Because I don't know,
how you pointing it out.
Yeah, it's very I would describe this as like quite conceptual. Bucking is sometimes like quite like uplifting and conceptually orientated towards feeling good. This is like I would say it's quite pedagogic, quite didactic, quite like telling you. It's almost like telling you what to think, which I haven't got a problem with. It's not like aesthetically not a brilliant like way of writing. I would call it sort of poetic word art, but it is one way you can do poetic word art. So I'm sort of say happy. I think it's the weaker one from an aesthetic point of view.
Yeah.
And then this kindly. Yeah, it's meant to have this sort of sentiment of sort of kindness or generosity or sort of like. And I suppose it's all intersubjective, isn't it? But I was hoping people might come away with. In the poetic theories, like the idea is that you might have a felt attitude from a work. So you might feel the attitude of this work, you might take it out of the room with you, and it might affect the you operate. And the same, but probably less like the sentiment, because you might only feel sentiment when you're being stood in front of it, but nevertheless.
I think you do. I think this one reminds me of like when Tracy Emin writes on her work and writes words, and I think they hold a huge sentiment in a lot of the words that she writes.
Yeah.
So that one connects with me for that.
Okay.
So I do get some sentimentality. It is just the middle one that I've got a problem with, and I think it's because belonging is perhaps in a different colour, and that's not.
It's what to.
Like the belonging is in a different colour, and now I'm reading it like thank you, like belonging, and I'm not sure if that's.
Yeah. Because I read see you as really dismissive.
You see that dismissively?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't fit that doesn't like if someone like I don't know, it's like see you it's kinda like, oh you can't be bothered to say goodbye properly, that doesn't make me feel like belonging.
But the other two I'm like I think it's the middle one that would need.
I told you the idea of goodbye, but goodbye is really definite and final.
Yeah.
Whereas see you, when we finish the thing, we'll go, I'll see you later. Like, see you.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a sense of continuation.
I see you later is different to see you.
Yeah, I suppose I was
See
trying.
you later is nicer.
Yeah, I suppose because I'm trying to work in this format that it suddenly became like a long sentence. But yeah, I take your point. So there's a potential
So
dismissive.
thanks, see you, like, I don't know if it was, like,
I think
if it was someone that you
is
feel
quite a strong
belonging
word,
with,
yeah.
like,
Yeah,
that strong connection
yeah, I
with,
feel
you
that.
say goodbye to them in a different way.
Yeah, I feel, yeah.
Okay, so it's very casual.
Yeah,
Very casual.
for the
Too
belonging.
yeah, exactly, too casual for the belonging.
Okay.
So the belonging, yeah, I wouldn't,
Yeah.
yeah, because it wouldn't, so good, yeah, well, but then that is final.
I quite like them on this ground.
Do you?
I thought that they feel like, you know, when you see people just painting fences and stuff, and it's really patchy, and there's the graffiti's being rolled out. That's what I kind of get from it, that there's something underneath it, or something's been like rolled out.
I kind of like it with the kind of this idea of it kind of frames it within another.
With the big thing.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it as aesthetic. Well, aesthetic, but also kind of subjective. Because
big
then,
underneath as well.
yeah, the big,
I like that
because then it becomes like you've got this overall, not theme, but it's repeated. You know, it pushes upon you. You know, it pushes upon you certain areas. I think you need to, help the viewer to a certain extent, but then
Giving them
give them a certain amount. Yeah, to give them a tone, because otherwise I feel that you're totally on a kind of what do you call it, everyone can look at it in a different way, and then you kind of
So you need to set the frame it a bit.
Yeah,
the frame with that massive kindly coming into
But
the
like white it out, like that's really nice, I think, as well.
Yeah, so it's there, you know, it's given, so then they're thinking kindly, it's playing with them, and then they're looking at that, and then you've got this within the kindly, so they're all related, you know, it brings it all together.
And the fancy.
Because I feel like the aesthetic, even though you're not interested in the aesthetic
Plan,
at the moment, but
yeah.
not for what you're talking, is, it's kind of...
So that would then potentially change the
way you
possible dismissiveness of thanks, see you.
Yeah, I mean, I think as well that this idea of repetition and also referencing to other sayings or stuff that already exists within that, but then tweaking it and changing it a little, changing the context a slight amount, so then you got this idea of what it once was and then what it is now, and then it starts to push it.
So I quite like the freshness of like the framing device, just it's quite sort of. But I suppose maybe one of my problems is because it's quite well, these symbolic actions which occur in my workplace are like from an urban environment, so I'm happy with this sort of greyness. But on the other hand, it's quite gritty. That would be what do you think about that, Daisy? I mean,
the ground?
Yeah, well, anyone if the I mean, if I made it all pink and neutral or whatever, you might.
I don't think pink is
No, not neutral. I mean, just soft, deliberately softer. Then that might.
It would change it, because with the grittiness it seems more aggressive, and the kindly just doesn't seem kind at all.
I don't know, I think it does.
No.
I think you can't ignore
Now with the ground.
With the ground.
I think you can't ignore the word kindly being kind.
No, because of everything together, and because the fact that it's like
there's the
red,
violence,
like blood, and it's it's violent.
I mean, the red.
Tiny, it's ironic.
Isn't that like juxtaposition quite?
Yeah,
No,
but
but it ceases to make the word kindly be kind.
Yeah.
I don't know, the way it fades out for me is quite like sentimental, and it has like value.
Anyway, but that's a point of difference. It's not no one's wrong. Yeah, there's certainly some people might see it as quite aggressive, and if you're more struck by the words, that might overtake the materiality. You know, if the words are strong enough in their meaning for you. So, thanks everyone. Appreciate it. Thanks very much. I'm just, I mean, I think it's like obviously I'm looking for an art, and it's more confusing that. That's life, isn't it? So.
I think it's just.
Yeah, there are
words
some.
are very strong. I mean, it's quite, it's quite.
I think there are some I could say that you found, if I were to split these, I mean, they're not presented in the way that I might present them also, but these do contain some sentiment to them, if I can conclude.
Yeah.
You're happy these contain some sentiment.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Which,
I mean, there's definitely a. Yeah.
I just try and if you've got feedback, but you're happy these contain some sentiment, and depending on your intersubjective sort of framework, you might have a reflective moment, but if you may not. And this is sort of conceptually sort of like buoyant. So, and you could take. Do you think you could take any of these moments, if these were in a gallery split? Do you think you could take any of these away with you as a sort of reflective point or conceptual, sentimental point?
I think I've seen that in the studio and definitely have. I've like looked at it, like kind of laughed.
Okay, so that one's quite strong conceptually, and it might pick you up if you're in a low mood. It might.
I feel.
Definitely the first one.
Okay, and these other two, if you're in the right intersubjective mood, you might read them sentimentally, or do they have an element of sentiment anyway?
I think
once you get rid of this.
Yeah. I think, as I said, the middle one's
The weakest.
the weakest.
Mm.
But I do think they have sentiment. I definitely think kindly phone gave us sentiment.
And do you, this is a really massive legal question, do you think in any way that this is all very personal theory, that you could like, let's just say you woke up in a sort of melancholic mood in the morning, saw this on a wall, do you think that you could carry that sort of sentiment out into the world with you, potentially? I mean, I'm just talking very theoretically here, do you know what I mean? That's the notion of how an object
Yeah,
works.
but you're saying you're already feeling melancholic, so...
Yeah, I'm really
Yeah.
setting it up for like, but,
Yeah. But then I think, everything, if you go into a gallery and you really look at it,
yeah.
then you're going to be thinking about it when you go.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's kind of like a...
Yeah, no, yeah, it's like a, yeah, that's, yeah. Thanks everyone. We appreciate it, thanks, no, I was busy,
You're welcome.
thanks.
Good luck with it.
Yeah.